Hi, I'm Michaela and I've been suffering with chronic pain due to endometriosis and co-conditions for 16 years. I want to share with you what I've learned along my journey and things I wish I knew and had been told along the way. I have a blog on Instagram for those of you who don't know, and I talk about my journey through endometriosis and chronic health. And in March this year, 21, I posted posts for Endometriosis Awareness Month, and I decided to post about pelvic floor therapy. It was something that I had just started going for, and it had really helped me. I was shocked by the responses, mainly because it meant that it wasn't just me that had gone through 16 years of chronic pain and 11 surgeries, and not one person had mentioned it to me. It seemed that pretty much everyone in the UK was like, why haven't we been told about this? We, and when I say we, my husband and I, came across physio and pelvic floor therapy when we were out of options, really. I was spoken to or had my notes read by most endometriosis specialists in the UK, and I had been operated on by 4 of the top specialists, and I also had adenomyosis, and I just wasn't getting any better. Everyone was telling me to have a hysterectomy and we weren't ready. We had one child. She was a miracle, and I'll go into that another time. And basically we were desperate. In between then and my next surgery, we went through fertility treatment and ended up having another child. And we had got to the point where I had 2 children and I was completely bedridden, and honestly can't even remember those months of my life. And my husband was just calling everyone all over the world and sending my notes to them, and he spoke to specialists in America, and they were talking to him about their surgery success rates, which was 7 to 10 years, and we were confused because in England it was 1 to 3 years, and they explained that when they discharge people from the hospital, they don't just leave them like our specialists do, and it's like, we'll see you in 3 months. They explain that in order to have a more successful rate of the endometriosis not coming back and affecting you, it's about lifestyle change as well. It's about healthy eating, it's about good mental health. All these things don't help endometriosis. I'll go into these in another podcast. To sum it up, you can't just have excision surgery alone. That won't cure endometriosis. You have to have lifestyle change and you have to have physio. And I'd never really thought about physio much before, but once I understood physio, I understood how crazy it was that none of us had been for it. So my understanding of physio, that if you think about it, for many of us, we have been in chronic pain for many years. Most of us will say we noticed our symptoms start around our first period. So even for at the beginning, those who only have pain around once a month, think of spending a week in pain once a month when you're in pain, and remember that this is at the early stages. For many of us, we end up in this pain every single day, and when you're in pain, what do? You tense your body and you tense your muscles, and many of us will just lie in the fetal position with the hot water bottle. I know that that's my favourite position, and that's probably how I've spent the past 16 years of my life. But it's not healthy for you, and we're tensing the muscles. And what happens when you tense your pelvic floor muscles? Well, that affects your whole pelvic area, and it begins to affect the organs in the pelvic area. And what organs are in the pelvic area? Well, you've got the bladder and the urethra and the bowel and your ovaries and your vagina, and it all starts to tighten and it all starts to tense, and that causes symptoms like painful urination, not being able to empty your bladder properly, painful sex, inflammation, bloating. There's so many things that alone can cause. So forget that there's patients who have endometriosis growing on those organs. There's patients even who have just been in pain, and the pain is affecting these organs. And the only thing to help when these muscles are tensing and these organs are all being tensed, because the muscles and the pelvic floor all around is so used to being tense, is that the organs get used to that, and the function of those organs get worse and worse. So it should really be that as soon as we're in pain, we should be sent for that, but we're not. But then we're sent for surgery, and we're still not sent for physio, and I can't understand why. I remember I broke my leg and I was in a cast for 6 weeks, and I was sent for physio to learn to walk again. And with most other surgeries, you're sent for physio. So why aren't people who have been in chronic pain for years sent? How are they supposed to learn to relax? How are they supposed to learn to live through and breathe through this pain without going for physio and without learning to get through it? But then on top of that, to go for major surgery, and I'm talking about even a laparoscopy for endometriosis is a major surgery, because it's not about the incision, it's about what they do once they're inside, and it's major surgery. And these women who are then discharged from hospital after having a laparoscopy for an endometriosis excision surgery, we're not told to go for physio, and it's such a huge part of the healing, and it changes the success rate of surgery, as I said at the beginning, from 1 to 3 years to 7 to 10 years. That's also lifestyle change as well. But this is something that is so vital. It's something that, if your bowel is used to being so tense, it will stop working. It will cause chronic constipation. It will cause painful bowel movements. That's also what endometriosis causes. So we're having the symptoms double as bad. And then the doctors are literally cutting out our bowels and cutting out parts of our body, because the endometriosis is so bad and our bodies are never learning to heal. So I have been doing pelvic floor therapy for the last 6 months, and I have to self-catheterize as I had bladder retention, and I am having to irrigate every day because my bowel lost function after surgery. But I've always had chronic constipation, and pelvic floor therapy has taught me to relax my bowel and to relax my whole pelvic floor area. And although I have to use intervention, when I am using the intervention to go to the bathroom, it's a lot less painful than it was for me 6 months ago, because the techniques they're teaching me are teaching me to get through the pain without tensing my body back up. And it just helps with so many things. And every patient should be sent on the NHS, really, and is available on the NHS, so you can ask to be referred to pelvic floor physio on the NHS. But this is a message that I wanted to get out to anyone who's suffering, whether it's from endometriosis, adenomyosis, polycystic ovaries, or just chronic pain in general. When our bodies spend so long tense from pain, it affects the way the whole body functions. So you really have to think about that. And please, guys, think about physio. And if you have any questions, please feel free to message me. Thanks so much for listening. If you have any questions or any topics you want me to talk about, please reach out to me on social media @PrettyInPain. I'll pop the links below.